Well, and let's roll our opening.
Yes. So just a quick reminder, a very quick reminder, in case you've forgotten already. Number 0 is Orthodox opening. So start point in the 3-4 closure. And number 1 is Sensei. Number 2 is Kobayashi. Number 3 is Low Chinese or High Chinese. And number 4 is Mini Chinese opening. Of course, the opening on the bottom side. And number 5 is the Go Seigen 3-3, 4-4, and Tengen. Number 6 is double 3-5, and number 7 is double 4-5, and number 8 is double 4-6. And I would say that if we roll a 7 again, we're gonna go with something different this time, just to keep it more interesting. And but we don't know what number we're gonna come up with, so let's do it now.
Oh, it was actually 70.5.
Oh, did you? Ah, I got number 8.
Okay, well, since we're for in the interest of time, let's just stick with the 70. I'm sorry, it was unintentional.
Game resumed.
I will resign if you lead by 99 points. So if I lead by 99 points, I will resign. Okay. So we'll just play like it was 100.
Okay. All right. Well, there's the second game, and we have a fellow single-digit Q player joining us. And best of luck to everyone.
the weirdest start. Double 4-6. Looks like we're gonna have to do some crazy moyos or something.
Yeah, so this opening, we when we introduced the list of openings that we had, I said that it was coming from a particular Chinese pro, Gan Siyang Fordan, who was a frequent online player, I think, back then. I think even since I was a kid, I've heard about him and his unconventional style. But I do wonder if you've taken a close look at this kind of opening, and are there anything one should watch out for when they play it, or
I haven't investigated this opening apart from just looking at his games. So he played this opening because he doesn't like opening. He invented this opening for that reason, because nobody else played it and he wanted to play it. The main thing to watch out for is actually exactly what my opponent played. Is this approach when your opponent attaches? You have to be very familiar with this if you play this Q17 approach. So I would recommend to just avoid this corner for a while or play something like P17 instead of Q17. It's very complicated, and if you're not familiar with these variations, it can get hairy very quickly.
And as we see now, we already have a fight in the top right corner.
Yep. So I think the Hane is a mistake, though, R15. It's kind of like the idea, you don't want to start a fight that's not good shape for yourself when your opponent has more stones. I mean, 100 points, yeah, I definitely have to kill something. 30 points, maybe not if I get really efficient, but 100 points is a lot. It's actually 1/3 of the board, and I have to get that extra.
Yeah, so you still have to keep your foot on the pedal all the way.
Yeah. Full on.
We discussed this briefly during the last game, and for some people it's trickier to play like this, but then again for other players it might be even easier because then they only have a one track mind, right? Which is to just be as aggressive as they can, because if they don't do it, then they got no chance.
Yeah.
So in some ways it's easier because then you've only got this one idea. But sometimes, like when you're playing an even game, you do want to play more solidly, and sometimes, yeah, just hold on to a lead in calm fashion. But now that the choice has been taken away, it might change things.
It's actually hard to play aggressively in the right way. Like it's easy to be too aggressive, but it's actually not easy to be aggressive in just the right way. In that, it's still hard for your opponent to read out the moves, but it makes the game decently complicated.
Right. And also, you're not just collapsing. It's
Yeah, it's easy to collapse. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, when you're being too aggressive, you do collapse.
Okay. So tell us about what you're doing here. It seems like you're playing very aggressively, as you've mentioned, and
Mm-hmm.
and you've got a target on the top side.
Yep. Now I'm trying to make white not alive and keep it that way so I can benefit from the other areas. So as long as I chase white out, then that's going to be that's going to help me in the future in the mid game. So yeah, so as white, you just don't want to do this. So I think especially when you play like a move at J16, that invasion, you got to be prepared for this kind of stuff. And it's not a good strategy when you already have 100 points. So I don't think white should have played here. White should have just made the eyes and settled on the top.
Yeah, because when you have a huge lead, right, you can be you can be a lot more conservative than
Yeah, it's conservative, but it's not passive. Like
right.
it's still considered a proper move. Um, it's just not a fighting move.
I do love this though. Now it seems like we're chasing a large dragon, and
Mm-hmm.
like I said, when you follow the AGA Twitch for content, we were talking about this kind of content that you should watch out for. Oh, but it does look like, oh, that's the fifth line, and well, you have a six line stone in the bottom right, so everything is coming
Yeah, I
together.
mean, it's very empty. Well, we'll see what happens when my opponent invades, but I'm trying to be as efficient as possible, making some territory here. Yeah, the problem is like this group already has an eye, which makes it a lot harder to do something severe against. Because all my opponent has to do is make one more eye.
Yeah. Probably wise to find out in the center. But in the meantime, you can see how attacking can be effective. Like when you attack a group in your game, it's not sometimes it's not about killing, right? But just taking profit from that process. But well, I say that, but it looks like we are.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't play a move like this, but since white jumped 2 spaces, I think I had to.
Yeah, that is a very sharp attack. At black now, and the intentions are very clear.
So I mean, yeah, white has one eye, but still, the white still has to make that other eye. And if white's not careful, they have to be careful, so they can't
Right.
keep. It looks like I have the ladder, so I think I can just push and cut. Wow, this
Ooh.
looks very very tight. This shape. I don't think white can capture anything though.
Yeah, it's
Good thing I made that approach at f4.
Oh yeah, because otherwise the ladder 20 wouldn't have worked.
The ladder at M7 would have just killed. Yeah.
Oh, this is extremely exciting right now. Black is really going for it, and yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any obvious crack in the wall. Of course, normally you wouldn't want this kind of shape, because it's has potential of being really fragile. But
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's like Twitch style, so who cares?
Oh, this is a difficult move to respond to because of how weak I am on the other side. But I guess I have to Hane.
Because you wanted to keep the top right group connected, right?
Yeah, that group is not that strong.
And oh, an I.
Hmm. Huh. I feel a little bit guilty because I'm tricking my my opponent, but we will try to do this. There are a lot of
Yeah,
ways to live,
yeah.
but
I've
you kind of
never.
have to pick the right one at the right moment.
Yeah, I can kind of see where this is going. But it has to be played.
My outside is like in shreds, but we will. We got to go with it. We have no
Yeah,
choice.
yeah.
Okay, so that helped a little bit. This is why you should do your life and death challenges
Yes. Oh, that's perfect
to
plug.
get
Thank you very much.
yourself out of these situations. So go do those life and
Yes.
death challenges.
Yes. 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 Still 3 days left. You can still participate, and please let your strong player friends know as well, because it really is for everyone. So regardless of rank, I'm sure you'll find something enjoyable in these 40 puzzles, and well, especially the last one. Ryan, I would like to see you do the last one.
Oh, the last
On
one
the
today.
final day. On the final day.
Final
On the
day.
final day.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I will fail miserably probably.
I would say like I think I feel like any normal human player would find it hard to fathom, but no,
I'm
it's gonna
sure
be fun.
it's insanely hard.
It'll be something. Well, I don't know what kind of Sumego you're into, but it certainly be memorable. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
um, yeah,
I
no,
like that. Yeah.
it will be one of the problems, like that, like when we go back in person next year, you'll chat to me like, oh, that puzzle you did last year, that kind of puzzle.
Nice, nice. I always like those. Yeah, there's just certain Sumego positions that you just remember.
Right.
Yeah, I have a really good one that I always show people, and it's not insanely hard, but it's just interesting. Like you look at it and you just feel like everything works,
Yeah.
but nothing works. Oh, this is gonna be difficult.
Oh, Wow, you're just barely holding on to the shape here.
Yep. God. This is yep, this is the definition of shreds here.
And I think there's something that white can actually do, right?
Yep. Very easily, yes.
Of course, we'll say no more, but
Real games to Mago. Here we go.
yes.
Yeah, so normally I definitely wouldn't have connected at P11, but I mean, it's a fun challenge, and also I want to give my opponent a chance to see this awesome sequence. So we'll put my
Really?
opponent to the test.
Yeah, it does seem like this would be an important moment in the game, and if white comes up with the right thing, then the game can be very different.
Yeah, sure. It's literally a 100 point to Suji.
Oh yeah, how many spells do we have now with this white dragon? It's like, okay, let me count. Okay, like 25, I think, if I kind of correctly. So it's definitely, yeah, it's well, we should also add everything else involved in the area.
Yeah, a lot involved.
Is that the...
Beating is cheating. That's why Pavel's KGS name is called Cheater.
Oh, is it? Is it really?
No, I don't. I'm just making this up. But he is like, reading is everything in his game. Like, he needs so much.
Right.
But reading isn't everything. You need to go by principles also. Get to certain levels. But basically, you can get to near pro level by only reading and not caring about anything else, which is very far about it.
Right.
Okay, so the question
Actually,
is,
I think there's still
yep,
still something.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yep, there's still something. Yep, there is still the something. The question is, will white do that something?
Oh, the suspense.
It is tense.
I mean, at least I don't think why. Okay. Oh.
It is very intense.
Ooh.
Oh no! I thought my opponent was gonna find it, but unfortunately, I think they ruined it with this move. The ladder will not work this way. So what white should have done instead of R8 is R7.
Yeah, the net. Right.
Yeah, that net would have worked, because if black pushes at R8, it would have been a natural clamp towards the side. Yeah, but now it won't work. So it looks like white has exhausted their possibility. There's still one little bit of something white could
Right.
do. That's not really close to what's happening right now, but
yeah, and actually that something can be costly. But
right, it could be a bit costly, but I guess nothing is more important than saving this group now.
yeah.
So white needs to do that. Like some crazy hold board thing happening right now.
This is great.
It seems like white still hasn't broken through.
Oh. Oh.
Oh,
Ooh.
I'm not sure why white Atari there, but so it looks like white has finally exhausted everything. Now I don't think there's any possibility left.
I think what you're referring to is the connection to M16 that white should have played, right?
Right. And then white
There's a
would have
cutting
been
point.
able to cut at either K17 or K15, and both of them would have been devastating enough.
Black wins.
Oh, actually, it is still 53% for white.
Oh.
AI. So probably the AI thinks that
Review
white can still
started.
cover the
It's
white
a
can still
close
cover
game
the
now.
outside.
So after
Yeah.
sacrificing the dragon, white could still play with 70 points.
Right. Well, okay. I think we should definitely review this one.
Do we have time?
I think so. I think so. We can review this briefly before we close out, right?
Sure.
Okay.
So why don't you tell us about these?
why don't I? Oh.
You're the Sumego guy, right?
I guess I was.
I'm not the Sumego guy. Steven's the Sumego guy.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking at this point. Well, first of all, your shape outside was absolutely terrible.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Yeah.
But there are a few things white can do with this. Of course, like first of all, we should explain to everyone that black's R10 move is the only possible move, right? Because if black didn't take away that liberty, then white's shorting onto ladder.
Yeah, sorry. Is the board showing?
Yes. We should make sure that people can see the review probably. Let's. Oh yeah. Let me send the link to the review board. Our producer.
Okay, it looks like they've got it.
All right. Great. Yeah, so I was saying earlier that like at this moment we come to a really tight position because if black did anything else, white was gonna ladder, right?
Yeah.
So black had to block at R10, however ugly that might be. Normally, of course, you don't want this kind of shape because then you get a free Atari by white, but had to be done. But then still, I think there's there's a lot that can happen. For example, can count M11 as a Sente move by white. And you can get one more. So there are a lot of
it looks like the cat can't see the board.
Oh, still? Wait. Okay.
Let's make sure. Okay, there we go. I see.
No, not
What's
yet.
showing?
Black. Oh, Eva-Dee, I sent the link in the Zoom chat. Oh, maybe refresh. Oh, there we go. Do you guys see the 4 marked stones there?
So you should see 4 stones right now. So Steven was talking about these 2 Atari moves. They were both Sente.
So that should be a hint. And because sometimes there are these hidden moves that don't get played out in a Sumego problem, but they can be inferred. And actually, they do this in some Sumego like classic collections as well. Like in Igo Hatsuyoron, I remember very vividly that they usually leave some moves that are unplayed, and there's usually some weird exchange that you think, well, it should be there by now, but they leave it open, and so you can really make it simpler by imagining all the exchanges that you're probably going to make, right? It's probably unlikely that white will Atari from let's say N12. It's still possible, but more likely that white would want to get the M10 stone out there. And then I wonder if Cat has seen it by now. And I also wonder if there are multiple ways of making this work, but there is one key move that would make things easier.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can give the chance to our opponent.
Yeah, so the main thing was so the sequence in the game. The main thing was this net, which I hinted at during the a commentary, right? So
Right.
now if black pushes through, that is one way where white can escape this situation.
Hmm.
Because now if black just pushes, white can just clamp, and white has 3 liberties, but black only has 2 liberties left. So black dies. Now, here's a trap that you might be tempted to do is, so first of all, you cannot do either Atari. So black's stone here at f4 just defends those 2 ladders. I'll leave you to verify that. So you would have to try a net, but now black just very conveniently has another stone at f60, right? And now that stone is going to help escape the other ladder. So we're in a very interesting situation. Wait, however, it does not escape all ladders. So if you do read this out, which is a very long sequence, but if you
Wait a second.
clever at reading ladders, you would see this one.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, I think that was the one I read. I read it was gonna work out.
Yeah. So so if you could read a 41 move sequence, well, then you would have clearly saw this one. Yeah, I mean, so definitely the one was this one, right? And also we talked a little bit about this wedge, right? So a good rule of thumb is if you don't need to make an exchange, that's always sente. So you never need to make M15 or playing L16 because black is never going to Atari this way, right? Because white can just Atari and that wouldn't work. So black always have to Atari this way, which means you never need to make this M15 exchange. So that's why M15 is always a bad move. Yeah, so this is what Stephen was talking about. It's probably a little bit expensive because you have to cut here or at least just make black very strong on the outside. So right, if white does live like this, it would still be a playable game for black. However, if white just nets here, this game would be extremely difficult for black.
Yeah, because black also have lost a lot of points.
Yeah. Or net here, as we.
Or and there's absolutely no there's no there's no influence on the outside. You can't really call this influence when some of the stones are gonna die in the ladder. So it is a bit tricky, of course, because the ladder can come in different directions.
Right.
You have to make the turns yourself. Sometimes there's only one way of making a ladder, but here you can really really different ways to steer it.
Yep, you have to pick one of these. Yeah. So don't try this at home, people. Don't try to kill a group like this when you don't need to, because if your opponent knows any of these, they would just kill. They would just win, pretty much right off the bat.
Yeah. This would be, well. Imagine if our it actually happened live on stream. That would be.
It wouldn't be very fun for me.
Well, no, I didn't say for you. It'd be fun for us.
Okay, there. Well, that's why you should do your sumegos, because any bit of reading, in these type of situations would help. Will give you a really big advantage over your opponent.
Well, another lesson we've learned from this is it's really hard to kill a group. Just in general, like anywhere. In any circumstance, it's really hard to kill a group because you have to deny their eye shape in every possible spot, right? When you try to live with 2 eyes, then it's much easier because then you just need to create 2 eyes somewhere somehow. But when you're the person who's doing all the killing, then you have to really deny all of that everywhere, and hopefully your shape
You have to
will
make bad
not
shapes.
collapse.
You have to have weaknesses, and all this bad stuff like here happens.
Yeah, so it's it is something that you do realize. Well, certainly for me, when I got to dawn level, I realized that it was much harder to kill my opponent's group. So this is why I'm a peace loving man now. No, I just say that because I cannot kill. Of course, if I could kill, obviously, I mean, who wouldn't want to see blood on the board? Um, but yeah, the takeaway here, I think, is as the person who's trying to kill a group, you really have to be careful with your shape because it can be really costly. For example, usually, like if you're chasing after a dragon like this, and for example, it goes into your territory, then you're really gambling a lot, because if they do live, then you also lose a lot of territory. So the safer way would be, of course, to just chase them around and maybe not think about killing as your first priority, but take profit in the meantime. So as we can see earlier in the game, like and of course this would make more sense in an even game, like when Black was chasing White's group around, White was just like running to the center with hardly any territory enclosed, but on the other hand, Black was really making a large area on the right side. So that's probably the safer way to go in an even game. Having said that, we obviously we did something very very aggressive. And
in a normal game against someone who your own strength, you don't want to leave the decider to your opponent, right? Your opponent basically gets to decide what would happen. If they read this out and they choose the right move, then they basically get to decide the game.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do, right? Because once you're so committed to this path of killing the dragon, but both physically and mentally, really, it's hard to walk away from your plan. Sometimes that plan leads to a total collapse. But
and this is really the random opening challenge. It's like, I have to start with these things, and I'm committed to a certain type of play. And now I have to improvise based on that part, that type of opening.
I suppose we could show what you're talking about. The top right corner, Joseki, just at the very end of this review.
Yeah.
The game, it did seem like White Hanade at R15, and that turned to be a good result for Black. But you were saying that there's something else White should do that.
Yeah, with this attachment, White, the Joseki is White should Hanade descend and then clamp here. And there's a few variants of this one. I'm not going to go over the whole Joseki because I think it'll take really. We would be here for like until like morning before I finish. So let's just not get into that. But if you want to be like, so if you want to avoid it, you would have to play like this. But this is locally a little bit better for Black because normally the Q14 stone is at Q15, right? So this is a little bit more efficient. So if you want to avoid this, you should just play here, or just not approach it and just leave it until later. So yeah, something like this approach, if Black takes the corner, you can just do an extension because later on, the attachment is still very difficult for Black to respond to. So something like this is pretty good for White. It's a very simple way to deal with a very complicated variation, and which presumably, if your opponent does play this, they would know, right? You would think they'd know something about Joseki if they play this 6-4 point.
Right. So do the other 4-6 approaches have to go with this opening, or is that just an artistic choice by you?
Usually I like to play it because even if my opponent plays the 3-4, I would do a high approach. Yeah. So because it's sort of more consistent with this type of, because it seeks for center control, and I think it's generally more consistent with this type of play. But there's nothing good about it. So it's just sort of my preference and my own reasoning attached to it. Yeah. Nothing
And then
special.
yeah, I guess if you played the F16 move next, then it'll be kind of a is it a
Yeah.
black hole?
I think the black hole is something even
Oh,
more.
the black hole is something even wilder, right? Like somewhere in the middle, like
Even
five
it's like
five seven or
even higher.
something.
A lot of people explained to me during my stream what it was, but I think it's
Right.
something like this, and then you play this. I believe this is it, but not 100% certain.
You're off by
Oh,
one.
I played the wrong. See, I'm really bad at this. But I think something like this is a pretty bad strategy. I honestly don't think this is like any type of opening. Like, okay, 6-4. There's Joseki's with 6-4. Okay,
Yeah.
it's actually taking the corner. This is just like throwing some random stone in the center and then it's like when you play a real game, we niguri, and then I'm gonna spin the stone in the middle and we'll see where it lands, and I'm gonna play there. It's just basically throwing some random stone in the middle. There's not really any inherent strategy with that. But actually, the 6-4, as we said, it's a pro opening. Like there are specific strategies developed with this sort of opening.
Right. Actually, in a way, it's like the 3-4 2-space high enclosure, just with the order flipped, right? Like
Right.
So you play the move on the side first, and then the corner move.
Exactly right.
So it's not that wild if you think about it.
It's efficient. It can be efficient, right? But
Right.
This is just inefficiency. Like it's just not doing much.
Yeah. Some pro did like either this or like 5-5 or 7-7 at some point.
I think 5-5 was played like way back by pros, but definitely not recently, because you literally need 3 moves to actually do anything with this.
Right.
So your opponent can just ignore it and do other stuff. So I also don't really like this 5-5. It's just kind of just too high. Yeah, like you have to have 3 moves to actually do anything with this type of code.
Actually, I'll tell you the wildest opening I've seen. So there is this one. Actually, he's a former professional player now, because I think he retired from professional tournaments. But I remember there's someone called Anoda Takuya, who was affiliated with the Kansaki, and he was I think it was 3-dan 4-dan at the time, and he used to play. He used to play 3-3, right, and then 4-4 and 5-5. Except it's all in the same corner.
In the same corner, a pro does that.
Yes,
that is very hard to believe.
Yep.
Like this.
No, I can find you some game records. There was actually someone did a tribute to all of his games, like when he retired. So
wow,
I'm not sure if he still plays in tournaments now, but he did some of that. Yes, and he won the game.
I would love to draw him as an opponent when I play in a tournament.
But then yeah, I'm gonna type the name in. See if any of you can find any of his games.
That is very very interesting. I did not know that.
Onoda Takuya, I believe it. He was a former 4-dan professional. And no, yeah, like
inefficiency right here.
Yeah, so I used to remember those games quite well, and when I saw the SGFs, and I just laughed out loud, like
wow.
He's done some crazy things.
I would find it very hard to win a game if I started with this opening, I think.
But no, apparently it's something that's been done in actual.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I've also seen this type of opening where you play 2 4-6s and then you play like the opposite one in the middle. I don't remember the player though, unfortunately. I have seen this in a book, and
right.
This was an opening, but it was a bit longer time ago, so like in probably 50s or 60s.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually a name for this, which I also forgot.
I didn't know this one.
Whatever this means. Move 4.
Yeah, but there you go. It just goes on to show that you can be very creative with openings in Go, and of course some of these are frowned upon now by regular professionals on the circuit, because people tend to play what's more consistent and more easily controllable. So, for example, an orthodox opening, or like any of the top 4 on your list would be, I suppose, more normal, and then these are stranger. But I'm glad. Of course, I'm glad that we got to see those tonight. But it goes on to show that, especially like if you're an amateur player, you shouldn't worry too much about these, and just have fun, enjoy the games. And sometimes when you play out this weird opening, you can really surprise your opponent, and maybe it's gonna work out really nicely for you. Um, so yeah, you should feel free to try out all these new openings, and maybe that's going to bring about a lot of entertainment your online play. At least that's something you can do while we're waiting for our next in-person congress.